Thank you. Yes. So I think we can start. Uh, we'll start by having a good morning to everyone. I guess some more people will join as the meeting goes on. But we can start now. Um, I would like to first have a first round of questions, queries, or feedback about the course itself. Like if you have found it useful, are there any doubts or thoughts or some questions that you have? I would like to uh, have a discussion about it, probably answer some of the questions and like to clear some doubts if there are any. Yeah, please. You can unmute yourself and and ask your questions, queries, any thoughts also if you have had while reading those texts. It'll be great to know them. Please feel free to ask anything. Yeah. If you are having difficulty in talking, you can actually also type it here. I will check. I'll keep checking the chat box also for any questions or queries that are there from you guys. Hi, good morning. I saw someone on the video. If you have a question, please go ahead. Question or even any comment that you want to make, please go ahead. Please unmute yourself and talk to us. Yeah. Yes, I am sure you have a lot of, and that's why you have joined this session here. The primary point of this session is to have this interaction because uh, don't want it to be a monotonous thing where you just watch the videos and then you can you just read. We can have this interactive session where it also goes beyond those kinds of lectures and then you having to study them, listening them. So here we can have a interactive session where we can just talk and discuss concepts, ideas, anything that has helped you or not, or is creating an issue in understanding concepts that we are talking about, because these are all introductory lectures. If I'm not wrong, I think it has been 5 weeks now, and you we have already finished with a novel now. So Rajmohan's Wife, which is thought of as the first Indian English novel itself. So I hope, and then we have also done some introductory readings about how English came to be in India and what shape it took, how the interaction with English uh, was very diverse and included very different backgrounds of people who took to English, right? So from Father Stephens uh, to the Babu to people like Bankim Chatterjee, we have tried to cover it till that point, right? So if you guys have any queries regarding them, or if you want to discuss something that's probably suggested and left not explored that much, we can discuss it here itself. Okay, let me, I think, set the ball rolling. How many of you have actually read Bankim's Rajmohan's wife by now? And if you have found it interesting, anything that you found intriguing, please introduce yourself so that we also get to know each other and then have an interaction here. Yes. Hello to everyone who have joined now. Uh, Welcome to this uh, interactive session. I think some people are still joining. Yeah. Hello and good morning to everyone. Let me briefly take this opportunity till we wait for the questions or someone to speak up. That to explain the design of the course itself, right? So the course, as I have said in the introductory videos also, and whatever like videos you would have listened to till now, uh, offers a comprehensive overview, right? That you would have realized by now because it starts from 19th century, early 19th century. The first text that we actually do is from 18th century, late 18th century, almost the fag end of 18th century. So it's aiming to have uh, a 200 year span, aiming to cover that span of 200 years. And so obviously, when we do this kind of a survey course, which is typically to introduce the readers and the learners to uh, the area itself, that like, okay, this is like Indian writing English over 200 years, which itself is quite a huge period, right? So obviously there will be certain selections that will be made. There will be certain kind of also omissions that will happen, that we'll not be able to teach or talk about everything that happened in Indian writing English for the last 2 years, right? So, so in that sense, we have chosen consciously certain kinds of texts which can give you that uh, comprehensive overview while not losing perspective on very important, significant aspects of Indian writing in English, that how English has evolved in India, how writing in English has evolved in India, what have writers done with the ideas that have been brought in by English, and the adaptation of English, obviously, in India, right? So, what we see, therefore, uh, is this selection that has been consciously made is to keep oneself updated, obviously, with the changes that have been happening, with new perspectives that are coming in. So that's why if you look at older scholarship on Indian writing in English and this course, you will see that there are marked differences. So therefore, like for example, older books will not have discourses that will be talking about contemporary English writings in India. Or they will not think that certain kinds of writings qualified to be part of the classroom of Indian writing in English. But I have deliberately chosen, as I said, that to be comprehensive and yet not to lose view of the significant things that have happened. So the idea is to obviously acquaint you with the history of Indian writing English, that how it evolved. So the major writers who were part of it. So that's why Ram Mohan Roy's letters to Lord Amherst, or it can be Toru Dutt's poetry, which will come. You will see. We have not reached poetry yet. I think we are still at novel and short story. So once the poetry part comes in, and then you will see that we would have covered every major significant uh, part and portion and sections of Indian English writing, like diasporic writing that will come later with in the I think in the ninth week, I think we'll have Salman Rushdie, Rohinton Mistry, and we'll have Jhumpa Lahiri also, where we'll discuss their work. We also have focused on new developments like writings by Hasda Sovendra Shekhar, Adivasi writing in English, or Dalit writings in English like Bhimayan, or like writings, as I said, from contemporary world itself. So that's why the course uh, has this comprehensive nature built into it. That's why we also take into fact, we also factor in all kinds of genres. So that's why you will have drama, you will have short story, you will have graphic novel, you will have popular fiction, you will also have fiction, like Rajmohan's Wife. We'll have short stories like you would have read already, Horse and Two Goats, right? So we have, and then we'll be having more short stories when we go to Rohinton Mistry or Jhumpa Lahiri. Those are again short stories. Like the attempt has been to acquaint you with how Indians have been going on about uh, their attempts to negotiate with English. In this process also, it's not enough, as I think I keep on saying in the lectures, it's not just enough to just read those texts, right? A typical tech courses run in many universities, they just focus on these texts themselves. They're like, oh, okay, these texts are there, that like you can read these sample texts and then that's it. But here the attempt is also to acquaint you. I would assume that there is a spectrum of learners here, as I can see from the registration itself, that there is a spectrum of readers here, from undergraduate to people who are also reading it out of interest. So factoring those things in, I've tried to keep it at multiple levels, pitch it at multiple levels. So people who want to also can find ideas for research here. And that's why I have also identified certain new areas that are also bringing in very striking and illuminating uh, uh, contributions to Indian writing in English. Like, for example, contemporary Indian writing in English, or Dalit writings, or Adivasi writings in English, and also perspectives where we are talking about the sociological life of English in India. These are things that probably are not offered in other kind of courses that are there. So in that sense, it's cutting edge, it's up to date, it's factors in the new kind of scholarship that is available on English in India, or about Indian writing in English, and also tries to not let go of the historical sense of where it all started, how it started, and also keeping an eye on the canonical English writings, because they many of these writers are constantly in conversation with those kinds of writings. So that's why the course is built like this, in this way. So I don't know if you are having any kind of difficulty in that. So I thought this explanation, or the rationale behind designing the course, like why have I put these texts and what is the reason. I thought the rationale is important to articulate here, so that all of us are on the same page, that you see a gradual, like a historical trajectory, but also what you see is that there are certain kind of new ideas, new forms that are evolving, that are also important to understand. Yeah. Are there any observations, questions that you guys have, or anything about even the course outline itself? I'll be glad to address them. Is everyone able to find the texts that are there, that are being discussed in the course itself? See, at some point, you guys have to talk. Otherwise, it's just not an interaction anymore. So please, everyone, because I saw some queries regarding texts, if they're available or where do we get them. As we replied that, like, it's available obviously online, you can search for it. Some of them are available online, some of them are easily available also in the market. You can buy those books if you are interested. So I don't think texts are difficult to find, right? So yeah. uh Sushri Sangeeta is asking, is there any lecture notes available for this course? What exactly do you mean by lecture notes, Sushri Sangeeta? Uh, do you mean like notes in the sense of what exactly? I don't understand that question. Can you please elaborate a bit more? If you are talking about transcripts, they are in the process of being made available to you. As soon as it's done, it will be made available to all of you uh, on the portal itself. So if that is the thing, then yes, that's in process. Lecture notes, I don't know what you mean by it, because we are discussing all this and the videos are like what, 20-30 minutes. So uh, in that sense, I don't have a separate like lecture notes that are supposed to be part of the course. uh, Whatever is being discussed is in the lectures itself. Like, do you mean the kind of notes that are provided, I don't know, at the school levels or something of the sort? I don't know. What kind of lecture notes do you have in mind? If you can elaborate, then I probably can answer it a bit better. You can unmute and speak also if you are there. So, Sushri Sangita, are you there? Yes. Okay. So, if I okay, I don't know because I have not muted anyone from here. I think uh, you can unmute. I don't know. Okay. Let me also discuss this idea a bit further about lecture notes, because if I provide the lecture notes, then again, I always think that I'm trying to then uh, I'm then trying to take away the creativity and the engagement that is supposed to be there with the lectures. As you will realize that these lectures have been prepared with learners in view who and giving them an very updated, very cutting edge course on Indian writing in English. Uh, so if I am giving the lecture notes, then uh, I have tried to shape the lectures in one way. Then I'm telling you that these are the important things, these are not the important things, right? So in that way, then I have pre-decided in for you that okay, this is what you should be reading, or this is what will come in the exam, in that sense, right? So I want to move away from that kind of a pedagogic exercise, because I think, and there has been a lot of discussion on these kinds of topics and this kind of an approach, that it's probably not that productive. See, for example, when you are making notes or you are noting down things while listening to the lecture, it's far more productive than me giving you those things, because then what will happen is uh, your engagement with the material will not be that rich, because what you might take away from the lecture will be very different to someone else listening to those lectures, right? But if I am giving the notes, then like for everyone, the takeaway becomes the same, right? So in a way that also hampers your learning process, as well as the entire objective of the pedagogy itself, right? That like we teach so that a new thing can come out in the classroom, right? Even if this is a virtual classroom, we are hoping that some new things will come out of it because of a student teacher interaction, right? So all of us are learning in the process, right? I will also not probably would have discovered, like, and this has happened many times in the classrooms when this course or many other courses that I have run, that I have gone to the classroom and offered a reading, let's say, of Bankim's novel, Rajmohan's Wife, or A Horse and Two Goats, and students who are listening or interacting with with the text at the same time, they have offered or come up with something very nuanced or a very new reading. And that's the entire fun and the process of reading itself, right? Reading together in the classroom. So I think if I understand your question about lecture notes correctly, that will probably take away that aspect of teaching here. Yeah. Hope I've answered your question in uh, this way. Yeah. Yes. Anyone else has a question, comment? I'd love to hear your opinions also about whatever texts we have done till now. Fifth week, going to be like sixth week this week, right? So it's almost halfway into the course itself. So would love to know what you have thought, the opinions about the course, and also the readings itself, because some of these readings, like from Dean Mohammed to Rajmohan's Wife, uh, these are not really the ones that are mostly anthologized in Indian writing in English classrooms itself. So would be happy to know about your experience with them. Any other questions or observations like Sushri Sangeeta? Anything else? I think if there are no other questions, we can like bring this meeting to a close. Uh, okay, there is one more question. We understand the historical people through this course. Okay, okay. Anina, thank you for the appreciation. Uh, one of the people I think we have taken up for a discussion is Ram Mohan Roy by now, right? And then also through Ramanujan's essay. And that's also another genre that I forgot to mention, that we have also essays like Ramanujan's seminal essay is there, right? I hope all of you had like all of you had great engagement with those essays. It's that essay itself, because that essay is quite fascinating in the sense that it frames the discourse pretty well. That like, how do we think about modernity, new things that are coming up with the British coming to India, and the new concepts that come with along with it. It's not just literary, but also how we are living actually. So the entire discourse of modernity that gets inaugurated with the British coming to India and the colonial expansion itself. So that's a very fascinating debate, and Ramanujan's framing of it via the context sensitive and the context free is quite illuminating, and we still can see the validity of that kind of a discourse itself, right? The validity of that kind of framing itself, that how do we think about a certain kind of a everyday practice that we do. He has an example towards the end, right? Of putting vermilion, putting sindoor on a new computer itself, or doing puja to a new laptop itself, or an electronic appliance, right? That's a very context free and context sensitive being together in India, right? So that's the shape that modernity has taken, and that's also a life of English. So one of the reasons of including that essay is this, because that also tells us that that how English has continued to live, evolve, and get entangled in India in very different shapes itself, like something that probably the British did not even imagine how it'll be in India, right? I'm always very fascinated when if you are traveling through India and you look at the signboards itself, right? Right, the peculiarities, the idiosyncrasies, the ways that people use English, right? Uh, to convey a certain kind of branding or information, or to tell a story, right? So those signboards are quite fascinating, right? Many of them turn out to be funny because of the like certain kind of, let's say, spelling mistakes, but then they all go on to take a life of their own as in today's world as memes, right? So these are quite fascinating travels of English that are there. So that's one of the good ways to also think about this historical uh, life of English, but also history as living itself, right? That English obviously came with the British in that way, in such a comprehensive way. But how has English lived on, right? And that will be something that we'll be discussing in the when we reach towards the end of the course itself. That how has English lived on today, right? One of the great fears of early times when English was here and post-independence India was that English might eat into Indian languages, uh, which is a valid fear, because this has happened in different parts of the world with different dominant languages. The dominant languages have become they have actually they've taken over, and then many of the languages, local languages, indigenous languages uh, have died in the process. But in India, somehow, and through very complex, layered, interesting phenomena, interesting processes, English has come to cohabit with Indian languages. Like many commentators, from Harish Trivedi to Aksaya Saxena, have commented upon this cohabitation, sorry, about this cohabitation, that how has English lived with Indian languages. So that's also a fascinating journey. As I said, like there are possibilities in this course that we can explore. There are possibilities for future research as well as possibilities of general understanding about English itself. Right? Yeah. So thank you, Anina, for that appreciation. Yeah. May I know where are you guys from? What are you guys studying right now? What levels of studies are you engaged at? Susri Sangita, Anina, the people who have spoken here, do you mind like letting us know what levels of studies are you doing, or are you working professionals? Where are you from? That will be great to know. Okay. Are you studying or what levels of? Okay. Teaching, yeah. So we have someone who's teaching at, who's a assistant professor. Yeah. Okay. So how have you found the course till now, Sushri Sangeeta? Because you yourself are a faculty member also. How have you found the course itself till now? Anina, also like, are you also are you also a faculty member or a student or a working professional, Anina? Others also can tell us. There are like, I see some other participants are also there. So that it's because uh, because of the online nature of it, obviously I don't get to, otherwise in my classroom I generally know who my students are and like uh, how's the course going on for them. So yeah. uh, The process of transfer is what I think you mean, Hupesh. That I think the NPTEL office will let you know. I am not so clear about that process. You might want to write a query, and I think the NPTEL support will reply to you about the entire process and how to do it and what all exactly is involved in the entire thing. So I'm sorry, I'm not of great help there. But yes, you can put it in the query itself as a query in the group, and they will reply to it. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Sushri Sangita. So yeah. I'm just, yes, and trying to make this course engaging one for all of us. If anyone else has any questions, queries, observations, please feel free to ask. Like Hupesh's question, I may not be able to answer all of them, but I will probably provide, if I'm not able to answer them, then I'll provide some kind of an alternative where the question can be answered. So, yes, if any of you have any questions, queries, please feel free to ask. Anyone has any other questions, queries? Okay. If you guys are doing the uh, assignments, and I'm replying to Sushri Sangeeta's question about exam preparation. Uh, the assignment level questions is what will mostly be there. That will be the level of difficulty is what I can assure you, or a bit only, not too high from there, what we see in the assignment level questions. So if you are preparing for the assignment level questions, and the questions will all be from whatever we have read, whatever we have discussed in the course itself. So it will be a equitable distribution throughout the course itself. That kind of question that will come. The questions will not be very difficult. I would just say that please be familiar with the content itself. I don't think there is anything to worry in that sense about the questions for the end semester. End semester exam will be fairly okay if you have done the weekly assignments well, and if you are familiar with the content itself. Nothing is going to come out of the syllabus in that way, but will be asking questions that you would have already known from these texts that we are doing in the class. And it will be all, I think, MCQs itself. There are no descriptive answers to be written. So, yes. And also, I think you can, this will help you in terms of your net gate preparations also, if not like for those who are taking those exams. Hope that is helpful, Sushri Sangeeta. Yes. If we don't have any other questions, then probably we can close this session now. Yeah. Let's. Any other questions, queries? Okay, so I think thank you everyone for joining this session. We'll probably have another one like this later in the course itself. So hope to see you again there, and happy learning. So thank you everyone. Have a good day.